Hello and welcome everyone, my name is Captain Frost and today I want to talk about leaderboards and seasonal leaderboards in Path of Exile and how can they be improved in Path of Exile 2. And to be honest, leaderboards all across the PvE genre games are lackluster, they are very weak, bleak and boring. And let's talk about how we can improve them in Path of Exile 2 with very easy steps. So basically, currently leaderboards in seasons for PoE, whenever it's trade or HCSSF or SSF or Ruthless League, they're the same. You have your levels. You have people with the biggest level overall and in terms of every single ascendancy or class. So basically you can participate in race for level 100 in general in any particular league, or you can participate in level 100 for your ascendancy. So that way you can compare yourself to all the other people who are playing the game currently, and that's all. That's it. That's your PvP inside of a PvE game. Whenever you're trying to compete against other people, that's lackluster. At least in my own opinion, that's very dull. It's interesting for the people who can compete on those first places. So it's basically for 30 to 50 to maybe 100 people in terms of top of each and every league. So there is some race going on in HCSSF, there is some race going on in Trade League with all the trading groups getting on and doing that, and they're finishing pretty fast, and that's not the problem. So problem here is that your average player doesn't really he's not really interested in participating there too much, because he understands that he will never ever win anything, or he will never be there at the top of the chart, because for that you need to practice speedrunning low tier acts, then go into maps and stuff like that. You need to, so there's basically those 100 people or even first 1,000 people will be just 10 times better than your average player, and even someone who is experienced at the game but just doesn't really want to speedrun acts 50 times before the league starts. And that's okay, I'm not against it. I'm not talking about how we should create a place for everyone there on top. It's very cool that there is very professional, skilled, cool guys who speedrun, who basically train themselves to get there so fast and so effectively. But what you can do for average players is not that. So let's say from level 30 or 40, you are getting into a small leaderboard with 10 to 20 to 30 people who are all that level currently. So basically, you need to create these little pools of people on the lower levels, and there will be, so you are opting in, and the game asks you. Game doesn't remove you from any other leaderboards. It's not something that you're losing anything. No, it's just an additional thing. So whenever you're at level 30, the game asks you, do you want to participate in this small race with these 10 other people who are level 30 as well currently, and the one who gets first level 40 between you 10 is the winner, and he gets it can be either just a title, it can be even nothing. It's just like, here you have this race, if you win you feel good about yourself, and that's it. You don't even need any rewards for that besides just position in the ladder. And here you go for the next hour or two or three, whichever time you're taking to get 10 levels. But for example, for the next 1 hour you have this small race in competing with other 10 players who are not the toppest guys, who were just level 30 in the same time period as you were, and you're getting this competition boost, you're getting this interest in playing the game, and that's cool. At least in my own opinion, that's not hard way for you to create this refreshing kind of partial leaderboard, and you can do it not like that. Maybe you can take all the players who are in levels from ranging from 30 to 35. So, for example, if there are not too many levels 30 currently who are playing now, and they are at that level, and the system possibly cannot group your players into such a small leaderboard, right? You can do it for level 30 to 33 or to 35, or for everyone who is Act 7 to compete for achieving Act 9. For example, so it's everyone who's on Act 7 in this group of 10 or 20 people. You're bunching them up, and then you're saying them go rush through Act 7 and Act 9. And whoever's first, well, you get some interesting, and maybe there will be just some list of your accomplishments. So it will say, and every player can get that. So you were first between, or you were like third between 10 people whenever you were playing from level 30 to level 50. And that can be just a cool, interesting stuff for you to feel engaged in community whenever you're just leveling up. And this system can work not only on league starts. The system can work on later down the league, so that not only the system, the season restart is something that you're feeling, that you're competing against someone, and that's a community thing. Because quite often with Path of Exile or with any other seasonal game, it's whenever the season starts, you feel that you're on pair with everyone else, and then after that everyone is on a different part of progression, and you're like, yeah, well, all the top guys are already at the top, I'm not competing against anyone, so you basically, there's nobody for you to compare yourself to. And that is the biggest problem, in my opinion. So in all the PvP games, and I play League of Legends too much, maybe I've played Heroes of the Storm, some FPS as well, but League of Legends is my main PvP game. And whenever you're playing, you still want that higher rank. And it doesn't really matter how many people are at the top or are at the bottom, whatever. There's just a prestige of your rank at every single point in time. I don't say that you can realistically create a similar thing inside of the PvE game that will compare to that that level of achievements in PvP games, because PvP games are baseline competitive, but here you can create so much interesting things where people will feel, and there is a number on our brain. It's not a number. So basically our brains are they're working in the way that you can't really imagine yourself. You can't really have more than 100 or 200 connections to other people, meaningful connections, or whenever you're gonna understand who's that person, what he's doing. So basically our brain it was never really designed to understand tens of thousands of people. It was never meant to understand his own position in those between those tens of thousands of people. You can't really know the names of all of those guys, and you can realistically create interesting, meaningful connections in your brain between yourself and comparing to all the others guys. Whenever it's 10 or 20 or 30 people, you will remember some parts of that stuff. You will feel familiar with the names that are gonna be on that particular leaderboards. You will remember that, hey, so this was I don't know, like, so this Jamie Arclash Lip Slam guy, he was in my group, he was in my leaderboard, and he won that particular. Maybe in the next maybe you can add him to friends, and and people from your friends list are gonna be pushed in those seasonal leaderboards more often than regular people, and if a system can do that adjustment, then it will do that. I don't really think that that's a very, very hard thing to do, especially whenever people are designing Path of Exile as a whole game with its whole list of systems, and it's very, very complex and hard task to do. For you to have basic just list creator that will manage to get people together in these small leaderboards, and then it will save some data about your character, where it was on the position in that particular ladder, and then it needs to save that data somewhere. Is that gonna be so hard for developers to develop? I don't think so, and I don't really think that. Yeah, there may be some technical problems with that, but I truly think that competition inside PvE games is something that we lack very much nowadays. And it doesn't really even matter if it's an MMORPG, if it's ARPG, or any other PvE oriented multiplayer game that is baseline multiplayer, and it's based on this community interaction. We really lack these features in most of them, especially if they are not PvP oriented. Whenever there's PvP, yes, those leaderboards, they kick off. And it's not like you will be forced into participating in those ladders. You can have an option to opt in or opt out. The game asks you, you're okay with that, you're clicking yes. You're not okay with that, you're clicking no, and there you go. You are on the same ladders as usual. Your number 115,000 ascendant, or your number 50,000 overall in experience, and someone's already level 100, you're level 68, or you're level 73, and that's it. You can still have that. There's basically an area inside the game that is just blank. There's nothing. There's this leaderboard that is mostly interesting for people who can compete only on the top of only on the best level in the game. And basically, the system that I'm proposing, it may not be on levels. It may be on acts, on levels, on boss kills, on first reaching some areas, on first reaching some amount of Atlas maps opened. So basically, whenever you're going through acts, whenever your character is low level, yes, it can be leveled from 30 to 40, 40 to 50, 50 to 60, 60 to 70, and then whenever maps kick in, you can participate in multiple leaderboards. So for example, it can be experience, it can be Atlas progression, it can be tier 1 unique found first, something like that, or the amount of currency that you have in your stash tab, so that 10 divines, who can get that there first. And now you're competing. So basically, I'm not a trade league player. I don't think that's too much of an interesting goal, but I think in minds of trade player people, it can be quite interesting for you to have. So basically, there is a bunch of level 75 people. It's their first character, and maybe game can track it somehow that is first character in the league. That's why it will create this currency goal, and then you have this small leaderboard, and whoever gets there first, it's just something. There may be a reward. There may not be a reward. I'm not talking about the rewards themselves. I'm talking about system. So yeah, thank you for watching. Hope you're having a good time. Let's wait for Path of Exile 2 and be happy with it. Have fun. Goodbye.